This Monster Hunter event has caused a lot of controversy amongst various different players. Some people have been really enjoying the event, some people have been finding it very, very aggressive, but actually now we've reached a level of unacceptability from Playroom's point of view. We are reaching a point of straight deceit and lying and misleading beyond what we normally get with Playroom. Normally with Playroom, they'll release an event. We know kind of like you should be preparing for an event that's going to happen in 2 weeks, but they want to drain your resources so that you spend money, right? But we kind of knew that was always going to be the case, and they never really confirm or deny it. Well, it's different with the Monster Hunter events. When the Monster event went live, we got a website, a landing page we could go to, where it basically showed us all of the unique, all the heroes, all the champions that we're going to be getting from this particular promotion, this collaboration. There was 5 of them in total. Obviously, we knew Rathalos was going to be the free login champion. That's great. Zenogre was the fusion. Great. Then we had 3 additional champions. So we had Alatreon Blade Master, which we all know now was the most grindiest hero path we've ever done in our life, right? This is why my voice is still a little bit tired, because I'm still recovering from going to a wedding and doing crazy amounts of streaming hours trying to get this champion. But it's fine. We knew about that was going to happen. Originally, this website had dates, and then they took the dates away. So, we've already changed it once. And then we also had the Nergigante Archer. She's been in some progressive summons, and she had, as it says here, a guaranteed summoning pool, right? A Prism event system for her. When it came to Fatalis, it pretty much made the suggestion. The only way they were going to do an event for Fatalis Blade Master was a ×10 summoning. Very clearly says you can summon it, of course, but the only distribution plan they've got here is increase your chances of summoning the powerful Fatalis with a ×10. So we're all going, and so, I've seen creators recommending players, if they want the champion, this is the only way you're going to get it. They're not going to do any paths. There's no paths, there's no Prism event, there's nothing. But then I wake up today to find that we've actually got a deck of fates with a guaranteed Fatalis. Now, this is more than just a problem for me, and here's why. So I've been managing my Lunar event points. This Titan event, has been fairly aggressive, I think. It's been, it's pretty much all or nothing for the soul. Previous Titan events, we've had like 4-star and 3-star as the milestones. This one, it's like you got to complete it all, or you don't get anything towards that champion, right? The main feature. Because whilst these rewards are good, and I'm not saying the milestone 4, milestone 5 path rewards are bad, I'm saying they're good. They're replaceable. You can get these in other areas. But the 5-star soul, we're talking, you might not ever get this 5-star soul without investing all of your essence. And it's not one of the top tier legendaries that you would want to invest your essence in. So it's actually quite a desirable thing to acquire a 5-star soul on this hero in this event, because it's probably a very, very efficient way to get it. But that's only against the backdrop of the events. And so far, they've been pretty aggressive, right? The Alatreon path, I had to go like 200,000 plus points to get both his soul and the Lunar event points, which is quite aggressive. We've got the champion training event here. This is another one now. This is going to give us, 100 points. We've got to go 6,300. That's pretty okay. We've had the summon rush. We had to go 4,100. All of the artifact enhancements and deck of fates have been like a tier above what they normally have been. So you pretty much have had to do above and beyond to get what you need normally compared to typical events with these rewards. And you've also had to go and get 1,500 of 1,750. So you can skip 250. So I skipped one artifact enhancement event, and I've done every event so far up until today. But the problem now that we've got is pretty much this is what's left in terms of the points available. So we have got a champion chase that's currently on right now that's going to give us 300 points. There's a dragon event that's on right now that's going to give us 30 points. An ice golem event will start, I think, tomorrow. That's probably going to have 30 because all of the specific dungeons have had 30 points. Then we've got 100 in the training, which means now there's also Lunar event points in the deck of fates, which you are going to have to get unless you do the champion chase fully, because there's going to be 100 to 130 deck points, and there's also some in the fusion warm-up. The Playroom guide kind of suggests it's going to be, which is probably going to be somewhere between 20 to 50. It might even be less. It could even be 10, but I'm just assuming it's somewhere between 20 to 50, and that's going to offset it against the deck. So the problem you've got right now, and this is where they've got me specifically, is I skipped 50, and I can skip 250 in total. So I have to do some part of the chase. You absolutely have to summon some shards part of the chase if you want the soul, because you can't skip 300. And now the situation I'm in is if I don't want to get all 300 from the chase, I'm going to have to summon from the deck. So my original plan today was to basically do some shard saving. I have held back here, and I've basically held it back to a point where I've only summoned, I think, Xenogre, the fusion, for my champion chase, and I think I pulled one sacred in the wedding because YST was like, pull a sacred shard, and I was like, that was the biggest mistake ever. But I wanted to save my sacred shards because we have a fusion starting on Friday, and it's going to be a summon rush because we've just got a champion chase, and they always go chase, summon, chase, summon. So we know it's going to be a summon rush, which means I'm going to need my sacred shards for Friday's fusion event. Right? Because it's always a summoning event for that fusion. So I was thinking, okay, let's be sensible, let's be smart. I don't want to go for 4,200 on a champion chase for a ×2 sacred. It's really awkward to do so. It's not very efficient. And you don't want to be summoning your ancient shards outside of a summonable event. There's so many summonable events going on these days that actually doing a times, like summoning ancient shards out of ×15, ×20, whatever, it's a bad idea. So in my head, I was like, right, I need the 100, so what can I do to get these? Do I summon a few sacreds? Do I summon just more of my champion fragments? And I was thinking, okay, well, if I get the 100, I can skip my last 200 and do all of the events that are remaining, because I was imagining there would be a dungeon divers. Well, that's not the problem. That's not the case now. They've basically thrown this in here and said you're going to have to earn Lunar points. So my choice now is, do I go for the champion chase, which is probably going to cost me all my shards, or do I go for this Lunar Deck of Fates to get a champion that really I don't really want, but I'm going to have to do because we're going to have to earn Lunar points. Now, the only hope with the Deck of Fates is perhaps we get lucky and we get those Deck of Fate points early. But the way they've structured it as well is very aggressive. We can see here, it's going to be through opening shards and getting artifacts. You ignore the dungeon divers. The dungeon divers at best will give you one pull, one flip of the card. You're going to need like 30 to 40,000 energy to be able to do the getting the artifacts. It's just not going to be reliable. So you're going to have to open shards, and they've got it behind 10 fragments behind epic, 3 epic, and I'm guessing there's going to be only 5 epic or something. 5 fragments behind 8 rare, 3 fragments between 10 common. So you're going to have to basically summon a minimum is 10 plus 5 plus 3. So that's going to be a minimum of 18. A minimum of 18 flips at best. Now, if I look back at the past, we can see the Summon Rush was basically the shard summoning. You would need about 20 sacreds to complete the deck because you've got 2,000 per sacred. It's about 50 primal shards, 114 voids, and 308 ancient shards. So pretty much if I go for the Fatalis, I would have to go all in. Now, I think for me personally, and I think this is what I would suggest most people, if you've got 300 from the chase, the chase tournament, you've done everything, you could probably skip this Deck of Fate. But for me now, I'm in this bit of a stuck position where my plan to save my sacred shards for Friday is just not going to happen. But the main point I really, that was just a side part, but they didn't have to put Lunar points. But the main point I wanted to put out here is they told every creator, they told everyone on that website that Fatalis was only summonable through shards. So they could have been saving their shards for the guaranteed one if they wanted this Void Legendary, because the Void Legendary is going to be the most difficult one to chase. Now, the other thing that this brings to mind, I was talking to Scratch about this, and we were saying, well, okay, what are they going to basically bring? Some other event now for Nergigante Archer, the one that everyone wants. Everyone wants this Nergigante Archer. Are they going to pull something extra out of the bag and actually get us a guaranteed event for this? Or is it simply because we have been sitting here saying that this Fatalis Blade Master is terrible? Don't go for him because he does no damage. He doesn't hit hard enough, and he doesn't do anything other than do damage. So therefore, if he doesn't hit hard enough, he's not very good. So I think this could well be a case of their analytics that they like to bring out and put on a table and say, look how amazing our analytics are showing that nobody summoned for Fatalis. Because a ×10, firstly, is terrible because we only now use ×15. That's all we want. Why would we go for ×10 when there could be a ×15 and gives us better opportunities on a base level? We're not even talking about if you get those ×20 and ×25. On a base level, it's better than a ×10. So nobody really summons on a ×10 unless they absolutely have to. So that, plus the fact the champion is terrible, I think their analytics have made this champion not actually desirable at all. So they've kind of curveballed and gone, we better get a return of our investment here. And they've put this Deck of Fates in as a panic moment to get people summoning shards. The best way to describe this is like your partner basically promising you from the get-go they're never going to cheat on you. and then 6 months later you find out they cheated on you with the secretary. Whereas if you knew your partner was already going to cheat on you, you just didn't know when, which is what the old system used to be, it's a little bit different, right? We all know that Playroom at some point is going to throw a summoning event and try and tempt us with our shards. They've always done that. It's up to you to basically manage your own kind of FOMO and other things. But this is actually them telling you, we won't do a guaranteed event for Fatalis and then giving you a guaranteed event for Fatalis. Because the pairing of saying Alatreon is going to be on a hero's path, guaranteed. There will be a Prism system for the Nergigante Archer. There's a fusion for Zinogre, right? They've told you where you're going to get all of the champions, and they specifically said Fatalis was not in any in-game events. And now they've changed course, and that is just deceitful. It's not even like marketing. It's just straight lying, and I'm not impressed with it at all. And the fact they've also tied Luna events to it means that you almost invested into one or the other. So I'm probably now going to do this because I have to. I'm going to go into my fragment and probably pull out Gwendolyn or Gronjar, or maybe I might pull out Vassal of the Seal. Some of these Doom Tower legendaries are very helpful for trying to finish off some of these stages. I'm pretty sure like S14 is much easier if you have Vassal of the Seal because he gives you healing. So I might just absolutely pull out Vassal of the Seal so I could do S14 and then try and get through here. So I think I'm going to go and get Vassal of the Seal here. I absolutely want to get Gwendolyn at some point, but Vassal of the Seal is going to help me. I can build him out during the champion training event. This will get me the last 500 points for the champion chase without having to use any of my shards. And he's actually kind of a cool looking one. I know YST really likes him. That'll give me my 100 points. And then I can ignore the rest of this champion chase. I've already done the dungeon, the dragon tournament. That's the last dungeon tournament there. At least we haven't got another dungeon divers. That's kind of good. And you can see I'm at 1220 now. So I'm going to need to get 280 from the remaining events. 100 is going to come from the champion training. I have some champions I still need to train, believe it or not. After all of that Alatreon, I've still got champions I need to make. So that will get done at 6,300. It's really quite straightforward. And then that will leave me with around about 180 points to get between Ice Golem, this Deck of Fates, and probably the warm-up event to get that soul. So yeah, I'm going to hope that this is, maybe they'll be nice to us and they'll improve like the Void Shard odds or something like that. They'll improve the prices. I doubt it. You never know. They might even be worse and reduce them. It'll be interesting to see how many epic cards there are and what other rewards are on there. There's going to be a legendary book, so maybe it's worth it when you do all the rewards, but I really just don't like the fact that they said this would not happen and then they've changed their mind. So maybe if you made the champion more desirable from the get-go, you wouldn't have had to do this or fix his multipliers, because they still haven't fixed his multipliers. So even if I chase him, I'm only chasing him because he's an exclusive, right? I've got all the other monster hunters. I was lucky and unfortunate enough to get the Nergigante Archer. I've got everything else. So I'd be chasing him purely because I would finish the collection. And I'll be honest, that collector of me is kind of like, I really want the collection, but at the same time, I know I'm never going to use him. He's just, you know, outside of maybe a soul cross stage, I'm never going to use him. So I don't know, guys. I wanted to kind of get this out here and just give you a bit of a breakdown of the points remaining if you're struggling to plan it. What I will be doing is tomorrow when this event goes live, I'll do a full deck breakdown. What I'm also going to do, because the champion training event is on, I'm going to take a look at the dungeon diver points equivalency of doing champion training with dungeon divers or ice golem with the dungeon divers and the champion training, to basically look at how efficient is it to run ice golem with champions like training, to be able to get your dungeon diver points and your champion training done for these two events. I'm going to take a look at the math and see what kind of results that produces tomorrow, once I know how many points we're going to get from the divers, because they could change it, right? We don't know until it goes live. But yeah, this Monster Hunter event, I think it's kind of shown the direction that Playroom want to take with some of these collaborations and some of these big events, where they basically want to not only rinse you dry, but deceive you along the way. And I think that deceit is going to not go well for them. That's gonna hurt them more than anything else. I can deal with difficult and aggressive events if I know that's what was up front, right? If you told me up front that there would be a deck of fates at the end for Fatalis and I didn't save my shards, well, fool on me. You told me. But the fact you pretty much told us that, oh, only that times 10 is when you're going to get Fatalis, people might have decided, because they want the collection, to go for that times 10 when they could have avoided it and gone for this one instead. But now you're just going to upset people. And this is the stuff that is going to cause people to quit the game. I'm seeing veterans in large numbers. They've had enough. They're tired. They're exhausted. Cintranos was kind of like the last nail in the coffin because Soul Cross is so aggressive in terms of silver costs. There's so much grind involved in that to try and do that. These are the sort of things you do, Plarium, that are going to put the nail in the coffin for a lot of those players that are on the edge or on the brink. It's going to push them over the brink, and it feels like you just want to kick them as they're down. So I don't know, guys. I'm pretty upset about it. I'm pretty frustrated. It's absolutely ruined my plan, which was to basically just do like a couple of divers and enhancement events to finish off my Titan event. I'm now going to have to go and probably do some of this Deck of Fate. And if I'm lucky, maybe I get the Titan event points straight out of the bag, but we don't even know how the Titan event points are distributed or how many there are. So I don't know. I just figured it's better to not summon shards to try and get up to this number here, because to be honest, Sacreds on a chase is pretty bad. It's as bad as you're going to get, right? Because you could go just so many epics deep. It's much easier to go Ancients ×2 or Void ×2 or something because you get a lot more epics. But this is just, it's too rough. So I figured it's better to go for the deck at least to try and finish it off. There is a Soul Chase tournament as well. Honestly, I am skipping this one. I'm going to save my souls because the soul, I recall back in Hell Hades' video, he said that they had plans to improve some of these features. And as they're now touching the blessing system in the next update, I wonder if we're going to get sort of like, you know, next update, you know, like next month in the next update, they're going to fix some changes here. So I'm actually going to save all my written materials this time and not go for that. Normally I would go for every soul chase. I'm actually going to save it all instead. The only thing I might do is, I'm pretty sure if I acquire the soul from the Titan event point, then I will get the 450 points. So I might see if I can sync up that and see if I can get just like these lower rewards, because it's better than nothing, you know, because once you claim this 5-star soul, it should count because it's a perfect soul. So, you know, that's all I would say to people is, if you are nearing this Titan event finish, see if you can sync it up and get yourself some bonus points. That might make me pull some souls. I don't know. I mean, it's unlikely that I'm going to get to like this 865. I think I'm just going to save them personally. So we'll see what happens. But there you go, guys. I'll leave that with you. You make your own judgments from it. That's my judgment. It's a pretty cynical judgment against Plarium that they pretty much deceived us. They told us it wasn't going to be an event. There is now an event. Let me know if you are at all enthused to do this Deck of Fates. I can't see it. It's not that great a champion. I'm only doing it because it's got Lunar points. That's the only reason. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.